I'll close it. Okay. Find the equation line with these X and Y intercepts, okay? Well, for my numbers, 4, 5, and 6, I always recommend you sketch a picture because you learn more, and it just takes a second, okay? So the x-intercept would be D, so you have the point 0. In my case, since I got to figure out what D would be, it'd be 9. And the y-intercept is negative A, that would be negative 4. And this is 9, 0, not 0, 9. And this is 0, negative 4. Now, I can very easily do a fundamental triangle and include all the details, okay? So if I go from the point on the left to the point on the right, I'm going in this direction. If you want to go from here to here, that's okay. Just put your arrows in the opposite direction. Make sure the arrows each, make sure you have a path from this point to this point if you follow the arrows either way. Okay, so your rise is 4. Your run is 9. And if I'd have left myself room, I would have written 0 minus negative 4, right? So I'll put it up here. Because you take this coordinate minus this coordinate, or this coordinate minus this coordinate, you have to run. So the slope is 9/4. And you really would be best off to write out your calculation of slope. Because one thing you find is, especially in a pre-calculus course, but also in this course, I want to see all the steps. If you're tested, you're going to have as much time as you need, okay? So you have time to write out all the steps. If you write out all the steps, again, you learn more. It takes more time, but you learn it faster. Doesn't seem like it because you're in a hurry to get done, I understand that, but you want to try to discipline yourself to overcome that. Now, you don't want to write more than necessary. You don't want to write several paragraphs of explanation all the way back to the definition of the numbers through set theory or something. Not that anybody would know that, but you know, you don't have to give me the history of your day up to that point. That's not really relevant, okay? Although if you want to, I'll be glad to read it. Okay, slope is rise over run. Now, if you want to say that's also y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, that's okay, but I definitely want to see this. Now, if you want to connect this to this, that's even better. Okay? I'm not going to require you to write that, but people want to use this formula and forget the pictures. Okay? You don't want to forget the pictures. That's what you will remember. Now, people are pretty good about remembering that formula. Kind of sticks with you. Not everybody's good at remembering formulas. See people getting the x2 minus x1 in the numerator, or x2 minus y2, okay? x1 minus y1. It's easy to get the formula confused. If you've got the picture, if you understand this picture and use it, you're not going to get it confused. You're also going to understand the equation of a line better than you would if you just use symbols and formulas, okay? So, you know, learning this course well enough that the intermediate algebra doesn't mess you up and you keep tripping over it in your pre-calculus course, involves, as much as anything else, getting in the right habits. Getting in the habit of documenting everything, writing out everything, thinking through everything. If you don't have time to write out everything, by darn think it through, because you're going to have to write it out when you get in the test, okay? And that's because writing it out, first of all, shows whoever's grading the test what you're thinking, so you get more partial credit, even if you screw a number up or something, right? Just write down a wrong answer with no support, it's wrong, no points, okay? Show all the steps, and, you know, have one place where you do something stupid like you see me do all the time, you know, I'll forgive you, especially if you check it and find that it's wrong, okay? Okay, well, anyhow, you got this. Okay, slope is this, and that is 9/4. You notice that you've done the y2 minus y1 and the x2 minus x1 already, and you didn't have to use a formula to do that. You used common sense. Okay. So, what's the equation? Well, we also know the y-intercept is 0.0 -4, or just b equals -4. And at that point, you easily just write down the equation, right? Okay? So, pretty straightforward problem. I've also done this, okay, in similar detail. But I want to reinforce it because I'm probably not going to go through that much detail in the future because we've got to use these ideas to get to other places. Okay, so find the x and y intercepts of this equation. It looks like people did this pretty much correctly, okay? But here's how you want to write it out. X-intercept occurs when y equals 0, right? And the equation is, okay, in my case, 4x plus 5y equals 15. Since y equals 0, 5y is 0. So, x is 15/4. I'll say the x-intercept is the point 15/4, 0. Another thing, when you write this down on a piece of paper, and this is for your sake as much as it is for mine when I'm grading, identify what you've got. Don't just put down 15/0 somewhere in the middle of a bunch of calculations and explanations and expect yourself to know that that's the x-intercept if you're reviewing your work, okay? And don't expect me to go to a lot of trouble to find the thing. Now, I know what I'm looking for, so I'll find it, but I'll probably complain a little bit toward the end of the course. I might start penalizing it if you don't tell me what you've got. Identify everything that you have because, again, that reinforces it. You learn it better, you learn it faster. It's not just a matter of get the right answer and go on. It's a matter of document it so that you can carry what you do along with you instead of just get the right answer and forget it. Okay? Those are important habits. Okay, so try to do that. Okay, well, anyhow, the y-intercept, x is 0, so 0 plus 5y equals 15. 5y equals 15. Y equals 3. So if the y-intercept is 0, 3. And then if you want, you can draw the picture. I didn't ask you to do that, and it's not required, but since you've done all this, how long is it going to take you to draw a picture to reinforce it even a little better? It's not going to take you much time at all. Okay, so if this is 3, and this is 15 fourths, 0, 15 fourths is almost 4, 3 3/4. So you kind of know where to put that. And draw a line. Okay? That makes sense? Okay, good. Now, estimate the slope using a fundamental triangle. I'm going to pretty much do it on this graph. A lot of you use the intercepts, okay? And that essentially did what you did in the first problem, which is fine, okay? Probably the easiest way to do it. But I'm going to get a better estimate. I'm going to estimate this intercept. Let's see, if this is A, in my case, that's 4. And C is 6. So let's see, so divide that. So there's 1, 2, and 3. I come down here halfway, puts me about here. So this is 3. And there's 4, 5, and there's 1 and 2, and they're more or less equally spaced. You probably do a better job than I did. Yeah, try to do that. It's just another discipline. You're trying to get things right. You're trying to be as precise. You're trying to be as accurate as possible, okay? Now, when I say that, don't get out your micrometer and try to measure these things down to the width of an atom. I mean, do it quickly, but somewhat accurately. And if you get something that looks like this, fix it, okay? That's totally distorted, right? Yeah. That's supposed to be 1 unit, and, you know, it's just not right. Units aren't the same. And I say stuff almost that bad sometimes. It means that you're being a little too careless, okay? And if you're in the mindset of being a little too careless when you do that, you're probably going to be a little too careless when you do other things. Make yourself be careful. I almost said careless. Okay, so anyhow, if this is 4 here, what's this? Well, let's see, there would be, that looks pretty much like -2. That's an estimate. Yeah, I'm going to come out here, I'm going to make this triangle as big as I can, because it's not going to be any harder. The bigger the triangle is, the more accurate you're likely to be, because if I use these 2 points and I'm off by this much, and then if I use these 2 points and I'm off by this much again, well, this is a lesser proportion of this distance than it is of this distance, so it's going to end up more accurate. I carry that too far, but okay, I can come out to A here, fortunately, and I can come up here, and I can say, well, let's see, that's about 2 more units. That looks like about 6, okay? Of course, you can extend your line a little bit. I have a fundamental triangle for these 2 points. for the run is 4 minus -2, and that's clearly 6. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the rise, we put the arrows in here. And the rise equals 8 minus 0. So the slope is rise over run, which is 8 over 6, which is 4/3. And then we can put 4/3 here next to the hypotenuse. And now we know the slope is 4/3. Then estimate the intercepts. Well, I used this intercept. I chose not to use this intercept to get the slope, although if you did, it's okay. Okay. I wouldn't do it if the line crosses here and here. You're going to have trouble estimating if it's close to the origin but not quite. And if it's through the origin, you don't have two intercepts. You just got one intercept. Okay. So close to the origin, or even worse, on the origin, probably don't want to use the intercepts. Use one intercept, but then use a point away from the intercept. Okay. So the y-intercept approximately 3, 4, 3.5. Which is 7/2. Okay, so now we've done everything. Now we're going to write the equation of the line, right? Well, we have the intercept and the slope, the y-intercept and the slope. So our payoff is our equation of the line. And generally, when we're doing arithmetic, we want to write things as fractions, not mixed numbers. If we're trying to locate a point on the graph, then, or estimate a point on the graph, then 3.5 is fine, but we want to change that to an improper fraction, because it's easier to do arithmetic. Okay? Okay. Well, that's good. Now, there are other things I could have asked you. Could have asked you to estimate or use the equation to find the coordinates of the line where x equals 2, right? What would you do? You'd plug in 2 for x, and then evaluate this side, and that would give you y. That would give you the coordinates. Then I could even ask you, okay, estimate for x equals -4. Now that's -4, you come down to where the line would be, you come over here, it looks like it's about, that might be -4, okay? Now using those points, calculate the slope. See how close you come. See how consistent you are, okay? I love to do stuff like that, because it shows you, how everything hangs together, okay? And working out consistency is a great learning tool, okay? Still, if you just do what I wrote on the board there, that's real good. But be warned, I'm going to ask you some tricky questions, some involved questions. What I just said isn't tricky. If I write it out, I think you could do it.